What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 457. My name's Steve. I'm one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron.
I didn't want to put a spike in a body. And John.
Don. Let's wait for it.
I'm John. I'm the guy who didn't want to put a spike in a body. I want to say wow to 457.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Every time we say that high of a number, I feel like every time I second guess, I ask again before we record, like, is that right? Because
Yeah.
that's very high.
Surely you mean episode 45.7,
Right.
Yeah, that's what it has to be.
because that's how young we feel.
Yeah, I'm way too young to be doing this shit.
Yeah, I know. You got to reverse Danny Glover.
Yeah, I'm going
too
the other
young
way.
for
Too
this shit.
young for this shit.
Okay, that's the lethal weapon spin that we need in 2025. A guy who's totally sane is partnered with another guy who's too young for this shit.
Yeah, I think we're onto something here.
But you flip it. The guy who's too sane is black, and the guy who's too young for this shit is white. Think about it.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah. I don't know if I noted it on the show or not, but I definitely noted it on social media when I passed the age that Danny Glover was when he said I'm too old for this shit. He was like in his 40s when he said that. Not even late 40s, I don't think. He was playing ahead of his age when he said I'm too old for this shit. But he's my birthday buddy. I share a birthday with Danny Glover. So
Okay.
it's like it was especially poignant for me to realize that when he said I'm too old for this shit, he was like way younger than me. It's called the Glover threshold. We almost cross it at some point.
Okay. I get that.
Who are your birthday buddies? Do you have any celebrity birthday buddies that you know of?
No, I should look. No.
It's good to know. Because you'll feel like a kinship with them forever.
I feel like, I feel like there was one. Actually, I got a decent amount here. I got Kate Winslet, Jesse Eisenberg, Jacob Tremblay, Bernie Mac, rest in peace, Guy Pearce, love me some Guy Pearce,
That's good.
Neil
Shiggle
deGrasse Tyson,
Really?
Wheelie,
Wheelie.
Really?
and the most popular of the Baldwin boys, Daniel Baldwin.
Oh, wow.
That's so. I'd say like Kate and Guy are probably
Yeah.
they're up there for me.
What about you, Ronald?
Where were you at, Ronald? Who's on yours?
Paul Rubens.
Oh,
Okay,
awesome.
there we go.
Yeah. Tom Ford.
Okay. You are kind of like the combination of Paul Rubens and Tom
Paul
Ford.
Rubens and Tom Ford. I would absolutely agree with you.
That's not even that inaccurate.
Not even that inaccurate. Yolanda Adams, gospel singer. They got the actor Peter Stormare.
Oh,
Love him.
Yeah, he's great. Aaron Paul.
Good.
Bitch. Yes. Yeah, man. No one delivers bitch like him, man.
At least he's in the running. If we were going to decide who's the best deliverer of that
He's
word.
up
Yeah.
there for sure. For sure. Those are the notable ones I can see.
I got to say, as much as I lean on Danny Glover, there's some good ones. I share a birthday with David Spade, Selena Gomez, John Leguizamo, Willem Dafoe, Albert Brooks, George Clinton, Alex Trebek, Bob Dole,
Okay.
Don Henley, Paul Schrader.
All right, now you're just bragging, John. We get it.
And that's
okay?
it. I would say the ones that I feel the
Gosh.
biggest kinship with were early there. It's definitely Selena Gomez and Alex Trebek.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my load stars. Is that what you call them?
Selena Gomez
North
is my
stars.
Selena
A load star.
Yeah, Selena Gomez is definitely my lodestar.
Yeah, a star that is used to guide the course of a ship. Okay.
I'm a big fan of hers in Only Murders in the Building. She's definitely my lodestar.
I did hear someone recently say, like, it's funny that if you replace Chevy Chase with Selena Gomez, the Three Amigos formula still works, you know?
Yeah, she pulls it off, man.
But then and of course I'm such a dork. I heard that and I was like, yeah, but her energy is different. The character Chevy Chase plays in Three Amigos is more of the dumb guy, and she's not that. But it is very true. They have not, of all the people they've called on to be on different seasons of Only Murders in the Building, they haven't yet seemingly called Chevy Chase, and I wonder why. I don't really wonder why. He's supposed to be unpleasant, but still.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
I always root for Chevy Chase.
Me too, man.
You know what? I find I do as well until I hear him talk.
No, he's one of those guys who breaks your heart every time.
Yes, you see him in an interview or you see him talking about, like, I don't know, when they were doing the SNL 50th, it's like, it wasn't so bad, but there were definitely some snippets and some, parts of interviews where you're like, why'd you say that? Why'd you? And it's not even like he's saying something like inappropriate so much. It's just that he's like, just kind of the ego and, just like, that's why you have the reputation you have, I guess. But
well, it's a little combination of like old guy can't read the room.
Yeah.
And also he's a sardonic person who feels like everyone gets that he's being sardonic when sometimes he just comes off as a dick. But I think that he like is often being sarcastic. Like, supposedly after he saw the edit of the Saturday Night Live movie, that whatever that was, it called Late Night? What was that movie called? The Jason Reitman.
Was it not like Saturday Night?
Saturday Night, whatever it was. Chevy Chase came to one of the screenings of it, and he actually was not unhappy with it or whatever. But as he was going out, he said something like, "You got to be ashamed," or something like that, or "Wow, I'd be embarrassed if I were you," or something. But he essentially liked it. But that story got reported as though it was a terrible Chevy Chase being an asshole story, when even the way that Jason Reitman told it was kind of it's a Chevy being Chevy story. You know what I mean? Like he was being funny, even if we all agree maybe that is the kind of humor that sometimes loses friendships, But, I think if you know that he's being funny, that's his way of saying it's, that's whatever. He's just not going to walk out and not say something sarcastic. And you kind of wish sometimes, okay, that guy could read the room and be more beloved. He should be coasting on those beloved vibes.
Too bad, man.
Too bad.
It's like he chose the villain arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's like, I'm gonna just. Yeah. He went into the room full of kids and just with the lightsaber.
It's a choice, There's a moment. There's a moment where you get to say, like, what if I just kill my way out of this?
yeah. And he did it.
Speaking of choices, let's get to my choice for this week's required viewing.
Pew, 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 pew. It's almost like it was last week's required viewing.
It feels like it, but it couldn't have been. It's meant for this week. Yeah, so I picked a movie that came out this year called Deep Cover. This is an Amazon Prime original. This is kind of like an action crime comedy. Awesome cast: Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, Sean Bean, Patty Considine. Who else? Ian McShane, Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso. Most people know him from. But yeah, I just had seen a trailer for it. I'd heard a lot of good things about it in the internet of things, but yeah, Deep Cover, not the 80s one that we talked about before,
or 90s,
or 90s, sorry, one that we talked about before. This is the 2025 R-rated comedy. What did you guys think of Deep Cover? Ronald, let's start with you.
First couple minutes, was not feeling it, but then once it got its footing, man, I loved it. It really, I think I just didn't like the establishing story stuff. Like it's, but once they went on the mission to do this acting job, this improv job, it really became very clear why they chose these three for it. That they have an interesting chemistry, and Orlando Bloom being the craziest of the bunch, but I really did enjoy watching Bryce Dallas and Nick do their things as well. They all gave this different energy and this group of scoundrels, and it worked. I really liked how Nick was one note at first, and then he came around, and there was call me easy to please, but I really did like the arc of the character. Like it just was really cool watching these characters really figure themselves out and their friendship got better and figuring out that maybe if you get plopped in a legal situation, you might be able to get yourself out with enough charisma and confidence in your words. So it was fun, man. I want to see it again. It was just one of those movies that the first couple minutes I just was like, I'm probably gonna turn this off. And then and then I was like, oh shit, like once it picked up, once they got into the groove of it, it really is like one of the funnier movies I've seen this year. So
Cool. John?
yeah.
I really liked, and I hate to say I watched this movie for last week, so I did not refresh my memory about some of the details. But one of the things I really loved and I thought was very funny was when they embraced their new identities.
Yeah.
And the name that, of course, sticks in my mind is the Squire.
Yeah.
The way they're like, oh no, not the Squire. Like the way they try to make his character, and if you know Nick Mohammed's comic energy, I mean, I have I have an image here. Where is it? Yeah. Somewhere in here.
When he tipped his imaginary hat, this made me laugh so hard.
Well, I just love oops, I didn't mean to click out there. I love the idea that like that sort of foisted on him in the moment, that like he's not planning on doing anything. He doesn't want to be really part of this, but then he gets forced into the role of being like the badass. I've got a picture coming. Let's see, where is it going to be? There you go. That's kind of his vibe in the movie. But the Squire, that's what is the name. Is it Orlando Bloom's character that says, "Oh, that's the Squire"? Yeah. But then he has to snort the coke.
Yes.
And he's like crying, and I don't know. I mean, it's so silly, and you see it coming. But when Orlando Bloom is the one who's upping the ante and saying, "What if the other bags are fake or whatever," or I don't know. It's so funny. Nick Mohammed's comic energy is like I don't know, a comedian gets cast in a role sometimes in a movie like this, and it's going to play off of whatever their little vibe is.
Yeah.
That felt like a perfect compliment for what's funny to watch Nick Mohammed do, which is like squirm, and that little sad face. He's got the perfect little sad eyes. I wish I could remember Orlando Bloom's alternate identity and Bryce Dallas Howard's as well. They all had names within their world, the fake world they'd created, and there was like a moment that treated them almost like characters in like a Guy Ritchie movie or a whatever, where it's like the cool shots of them walking down the road, but we know they're just complete posers. And what you were saying, Ronald, was true. It's the character stuff of like they each have a different angle. Like Orlando Bloom is totally overplaying the emotional intensity and the kind of method thing, and Nick Mohammed is just along for the ride, but he's been thrust into the role of like the guy whose name he's like the Kaiser Soze, don't the Squire, and then Bryce Dallas Howard is playing, she's trying to kind of keep it together. She's the more balanced, I think, of the three of them, but she's also kind of competent in a way. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I don't think it was I think like a lot of comedies in the last act, it gets just kind of frantic, and you kind of see it go where it's going to go. But I do think it was a good-natured little comedy, and I was just real. I mean, when I was really getting into it, I was laughing very hard at the little character bits, and especially once they got rolling with the concept, kind of like what you said, Ronald, that once they got past the setup, which it didn't bother me so much, but I did kind of think like, what is the tone of this thing going to be? And it kind of heightens, I never know if it's Considine or Considine. I thought it was cool to see him playing kind of he's like aged into now playing the boss character, which was kind of interesting to see. But I liked that he was one of the main characters and that he was kind of sympathetic, because you do sort of instinctively like him. I always do anyway. And then Ian McShane is just doing his thing. It was fun. I don't know if you guys had this thought about Sean Bean at the first half of the movie. You're like, oh, Sean Bean's going to play a character that doesn't die for once. And then, well, I'll leave it to people that haven't watched yet to find out whether that's true.
Optimism,
yeah. But
no, I totally agree. Like I feel like in general, I am so in need of movies like this. And a little later, actually, I just remembered I'm going to mention another movie I watched recently that is kind of in this lane as well. Um, but yeah, I just loved the characters in terms of like any kind of crazy performance or anything like that. I think it's probably like Nick and Orlando that really kind of shine, just kind of how awkward and ridiculous they are, respectively. Especially like Orlando, like there's the scene when he throws that grenade and it just squeaks.
Yeah.
Like just like the commitment to like he knows it's not real. Like what do you think is going to happen?
No, that whole scene is like you see the limits of his ability to push this image forward.
Yeah, and I like how it kind of escalates in many different ways, and just like I thought it was a really fun just action comedy. I mean, or buddy comedy, whatever you want to tag it as. But I feel like we don't see many movies like this anymore. And even just the comedy of it all, it's just like we talk a lot about them on this podcast, and I feel like, each of us in this kind of section of our show, like a lot of times pick these kinds of movies or pick comedies, especially if they're recent streamers, because we don't see them in theaters that much anymore,
Right.
So it's like you find them on these streaming platforms or whatever, direct to video, but they're good. Honestly, like this is a good movie. It's a fun movie, a funny movie. And I think everybody just does a great job at it. Again, stand out for me as Nick and Orlando, and for completely opposite reasons in terms of their performance and character. But I would definitely recommend checking it out. And again, it's on Amazon Prime if you were not able to watch along with us this time, but want to check it out based off what we said. It's on there for streaming now if you have a Prime membership.
And I also, a funny thing, Steve, just to mention this is like I feel like this is the kind. There's a certain type of indie film that I think this about too, where I'm just like, oh, if these 4 or 5 actors were in a movie, why didn't I hear about this?
Right.
But this movie's in that category of like, it used to be that a comedy like this would have gotten a little more traction in the box office, or would have had more of a little imprint or something, like a reliable, likable, warm-hearted, but still kind of fun, whatever comedy. Like there's adventure, there's death, and there is danger in this movie, but you don't really worry too much about your main characters beyond a point. You realize the movie's kind of bending around that sense of like, oh, it's fun to see these characters together. But it's I think one of the reasons why a movie like this comes off so well to me in 2025, or at least is so enjoyable and so easy to watch. It's like a kind of movie that my mom would have called cute, and she would have meant that in the nicest way possible, like a really watchable, fun movie that doesn't demand too much of you morally or intellectually or anything else, but it does have a little bit of interest behind the like the idea that they're improv comedians or improv actors that are being forced into this situation. Like that does have some rooting in fact. I think sometimes police have used actors, or at least they've let improv people train undercover people on how to respond, to certain situations and stuff. So it's like that little kernel of something slightly grounded turns into something completely idiotic by the time these characters are in the middle of it. And I even thought, I don't know if you guys have watched much Slow Horses yet, but I was reminded, Sean Bean's character reminded me of sort of like, this is like a shitbag version of Jackson Lamb from that show. He's like a manipulator and a guy who's trying to play all these angles, but he really doesn't, he's Sean Bean, so you can figure out what happens to him. But no, I'm glad you suggested this, because this is probably one it might have slid back off my radar, but I had noticed those actors were in it, and it was fun to see. I will say, we've talked about Nick Mohammed's comic energy, but you mentioned it. Orlando Bloom really does embrace the kind of, it's not quite the butt of the joke, but a guy who he's too serious to understand how ridiculous he is. That's a pretty good character for someone like Orlando Bloom, I think.
Absolutely. So who's up? John, you're up?
I'm up, and this is a movie I was going to pick a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to pick Superman 3 because it was sort of timely. But this is a movie that's been on my list for a while, and I was like, it was the next one up. And then this week I've seen other people mentioning this movie because our friend Ryan Coogler, we wish he was our friend. He's our friend in spirit. He did a Criterion's Closet thing, or at least one that I saw people starting to share. I don't know if he just did this or not. But the movie we'll be watching for next week's movie Schmovie required viewing is Carl Franklin's Devil in a Blue Dress,
Ooh.
which is the first time I remember seeing Mr. Don Cheadle. And I also remember at the time thinking it was cool that Denzel had gotten to this sort of role where he was carrying this type of movie. And I think now this movie feels even more special for various reasons looking back at it. So I've invoked this movie many times because of that kind of star-making turn that Don Cheadle has in this.
Yeah.
But as Mouse, if you've seen the movie, you know he kind of steals the movie when he pops in. But I also just haven't seen this movie. I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in the theaters when it first came out. So I'm excited to watch it again. So next week we'll be going back to what year? 92? Is it another 92? I don't know. I thought that would be on the page on Criterion, but I don't know. But it's a 90s movie.
Cool.
Starring Denzel as Easy Rollins, who I think wasn't there another Easy Rollins movie starring somebody else? I guess we can talk about all this next week.
I think they were trying to. I don't know if the new one even came out, but there was supposed to be another one. But I don't think another Easy Rollins movie came out.
So it's a 95.
95.
And it appears to be, it's in a lot of the regular places for like $3 or $4. It looks like, yeah, $4 pretty much everywhere.
Cool.
Everyone has agreed that renting this movie is worth $3.99.
Cool.
All right. Moving on. Before you get to the bigger conversation you guys are going to have about this week's big film, I just wanted to mention that I too saw F1 last week, or
Awesome.
at the end of last week. Aaron and I actually both went to see it. Got to see it in IMAX, which I was happy about before it leaves. And I loved it. I really felt like, so I'll review this as a Brad Pitt experience and as its own movie. But I mean, I think Brad hasn't been this Brad since maybe like Benjamin Button or something.
Right.
Like it's really tapped into that level of all the four quadrants of everything that he is, to me and all who love him. But I don't know. Yeah, he's great in this movie. I mean, it's a great starring vehicle for him. And to be kind of like a summer big popcorn movie blockbuster thing, which, he's not part of a lot of those kinds of movies. I mean, I know Bullet Train was kind of like in that realm. That's like a big action movie, but this is much bigger, in terms of just the stakes for it and what it is and the scope of the film, I guess, in general. But as a film too, it's definitely in that lane of like, you mentioned the Ted Lasso stuff and even Top Gun Maverick or Days of Thunder or any of those things, I think are all relevant. But I loved, the way, just as a technical achievement, it's just incredible. I mean, the camera stuff, like Kaczynski did the same for Maverick, but the cameras on the cars and the rotating around the car and showing the driver, showing the track, and seeing that it's real. I thought that was so thrilling. And it's such a, I don't know if it's rare because a lot of movies emulate that in ways like with different kinds of production value, but I think you can like really tell and feel the quality and just like how genuine some of those shots are and what they went through to get them. I thought the dynamic between him and Damson was great. I love that. I love the way the movie ended, especially like I was thinking about the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie and like which way they're going to go with this, like, protege, this relationship between the protege and the mentor and the conflict between them and how this would really end for both of them. And I thought that it's just a great ending, crowd pleasing. Can't wait to watch it again. But I loved it, just period. I thought it was great.
I'm glad you liked it, man.
So yeah, everything you said, and I say yes, me too. But I wanted to just kind of frame the Brad, especially the Brad of it all, for our listeners that know my love for the man. He's got that swoon comedy, dudeness, and just like all four of them. I don't know what the fourth one is. That's the X factor, but.
There's a scene that got to me for some reason. When Javier Bardem comes in and he's like, here's a ticket, come to see me or whatever. When he talked to the waitress about it.
Yeah. Then what's it about?
Yeah. Something about.
Does he come in at any point and say, flip a coin, friendo?
That would be pretty amazing.
Be weird, like with that. What are you
The
killing that gun for?
electric cattle prod? Is that what
Yeah.
he's playing?
Something about that scene, man. Something about that scene of him just at that point, he's just kind of like everyday man. You know what I mean? He's like there trying to get some advice before he makes a decision that's going to change the course of his life, and he's having it with his server.
Right, right.
And I kind of feel like if she gave him a different answer, he probably wouldn't have gone. It's like that kind of. It was interesting, really interesting.
And that like even that kind of comment, like that's kind of seen in the movie, like it's kind of mirrored again in the end of the film, like in the literal end of the movie. Like he has the same conversation with another character that you just meet, and they say, "Well, if it's not about that, what's it about?" It's like, good point. It's like it's a cool. I don't know. It's some of it is probably seen as maybe a little corny or cheesy at times, but it just felt like a movie. Like it's a movie. It's a really big movie.
It works now. It would have worked in the 90s. It would have worked in the 80s. Like,
absolutely right.
It's so fucking good, man.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It works just period, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again.
Cool.
I will definitely see it. And I hope I see it on the biggest screen I can find. Because it sounds like the kind of movie that you want to see.
Yeah,
that way.
It's funny how everything is that now, but it really does benefit from, I mean, like, I don't think Erin cares so much about that stuff, but like when we were in there watching it, I mean, obviously she was like, didn't love that the IMAX theaters don't have the amazing seats, but you do get that amazing presentation and sound, and it's just turned up all the way, and it's just, it was awesome, man. It's great.
It reminds me of another movie that I know is good because everyone says it's good, but that I haven't seen, which is Moneyball. Maybe that's a future required viewing.
Oh man, see
or maybe
Moneyball.
I'll just get to it. Maybe I'll just watch it.
Yeah,
That's crazy. You haven't seen that.
I know it's weird. It's weird
movie.
when a movie slips through the cracks, but you know me.
You know me, guys. Me
know
to
the way
miss a
I
good
am.
movie every once in a while.
I almost do it on purpose, just so I can surprise everybody. Later.
Goddamn, Slippin' John.
No, but I think you were the one who pointed out that you sort of pretend you've seen movies, Steve, on this show every now and then. Not like you actively pretend, but that there's a conversation about the movie that you take part in, and then if time passes, you sort of like you miss the part where you actually need to see it to catch up on it. Well, I'll throw out a movie that I saw that is not the big movie, and then we can maybe get to our big movie, or maybe Ronald, maybe you could throw out something else. But I finally saw Bring Her Back. Have you seen this, fellas? Anybody?
No, I want to so bad.
It's disturbing as hell. Like it's by the Talk to Me guys. Or folks, and it. If you remember the most unsettling moments of that, and particularly the moment where somebody is destroying their face on a table, that energy is present in this movie, where you think you're just living life and watching a movie, and then some real trauma to somebody's like teeth and face happens, and it just lingers on it. It's a really, I could see people being really put off by how far this movie goes. It's very gross in some parts and kind of gory and scary at the same time. Like there's a kid that's possessed, that's sort of deformed by the possession at different points, and it's really unpleasant to see, but it's also part of the possession horror. So it's interesting. It's not like torture porn or anything, but it does linger on like what just looks like pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because someone's going through some shit. I liked it, but it was definitely, Sally Hawkins is fully on display. Like her range, she goes from sort of like, you never really don't think she's creepy, but she goes from, oh, you might think this was a quirky person, to a really dangerous person, to just an outright like horrifying person in this movie. So I don't know. It's good. It's well done. It fits in as like the second movie from that team. But it might be a little hard for some people. Like I could see this being a little hard for the Friday night, what's the latest horror movie kind of crowd, which seems to be dwindling anyway, as far as the automatic box office you would get for this type of movie. But I liked it, and I do think that if you like to talk to me and you want to see if they've got something kind of equally as hardcore up their sleeve, this movie definitely satisfies that. And for a possession story, if you hear that and go, possession, I've seen that. This is doesn't have the same rhythms or narrative of any possession movie I can think of. So,
Okay, cool. I was going to mention The Amateur, starring Rami Malek, Rachel Brosnahan, and that will help transition into this next movie we're going to talk about.
You got the Brosnahan effect.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne, John Bernthal. Rami Malek loses his wife, Rachel, who plays a character named Sarah, loses her in a terrorist attack. And Rami works for the government and doesn't really have any physical training at all. But when he sees that the death of his wife is very sketchy, he wants to train to get on the field to avenge the death of his wife. Now, there's some weirdness going on in the government, and they kind of allow him to do it. But there's a reason why they allow him to do it, because there's some sketchiness about how she died and what's going on with this terrorist attack. So they kind of let him go on the field. But what they realize is that he's better at it than they think. And it's not because he has any physical training. He's just great at inventing inventions to kill people. So like explosives. You may have seen the pool scene where he kind of makes a infinity pool vibrate enough so that the base starts to crack. He's smart enough to know how to kill somebody, and that really fucks with people. And he's a hacker, so he figures out ways to be 8 places at once, which is really cool. So Rami in this movie is really good. It's 40 minutes too long, though. It could be 90 minutes of banging action. Instead, it's 2 hours of a great action film with kind of a lull in the middle. But it's really cool to see Lawrence Fishburne still kicking ass, man. Like, I don't know how he does it, how his hips do it, but he's still beating the hell out of people, man. And he has this brutal energy to him. When you get punched by Lawrence Fishburne, you feel it in these, in these movies. So it's cool to see him still doing it. It's worth seeing. Once it comes out on streaming or something, I suggest watching. It's a fun enough movie, especially watching Rami's eyes get big every time something explodes or does more than he expects it to do, or for a terrorist to actually listen to him when he threatens them. It's really cool to watch kind of a fish out of water in this way. I've never seen it done in this way before, but The Amateur's worth checking out.
Since you mentioned Lawrence Fishburne, I'll just mention this to you guys, that earlier when we were talking about this and I was trying to find out the names of the other alternate identities from Deep Cover, I typed in The Squire Deep Cover as the search, and the AI overview that came up was The Squire is a character in the movie Deep Cover, a 2025 film where an undercover cop played by Lawrence Fishburne infiltrates a drug lord led by David Jason. So it's totally blended the two Deep Covers.
Holy shit.
And it's awesome. Claiming that The Squire is the name of that character, which made me think, is that a reference to that movie? But I don't think so. I don't think anybody's called The Squire in that. I don't think that would have sounded tough in 1992 when they were making that movie.
I wanted to mention one more thing before you guys finish up with your big review. I mentioned during Deep Cover, Amazon Prime has another action comedy that came out last week called Heads of State.
Okay.
With John Cena, with
Idris Elba. It looks fun. Is it good?
And what's her name? Priyanka Chopra Jones. Jonas, Patty Considine also in this film, or Considine also in this film. Wow. Stephen Root, Carla Gugino, Jack Quaid, Sarah Niles also in F1, also in Ted Lasso, psychiatrist. This is another great action comedy. Like, this is a very entertaining, very funny
Okay.
The chemistry is great between Cena and Elba. They're so funny together. There's a lot of really funny scenes, and most importantly, some of the action in this movie is better than some of the action I've seen in other action period movies recently. And I think that's mainly because the guy who directed it is Ilya Naishuller, who uh, did Nobody with Nobody, and what was the other one that he did? Do you remember Hardcore Henry, that
Yeah.
POV action film?
Yeah.
So he did those as well. But yeah,
Who
this
starred in
movie, it's very funny, really good action, and again, there's just like it's just sitting on Amazon Prime, and like within 2 to 3 weeks, they put out two of the better comedies, action comedies. Like this is a movie that is like you don't want to say how is this not in a movie theater because these are movie stars. You know, I think that they're stars. You know, like in today's era.
Mm.
But it's if you have Amazon Prime, it's on there, and it's gotten really good reviews, really high audience scores, and yeah, I just feel like I've heard some people talking about it, but not a lot, and I love Idris, and he's great in this. He's so funny, and he's got that star quality too throughout the whole movie. That it's just like, yes, just go watch it. It's really entertaining. Again, I watched it again. Another thing that Erin, she doesn't watch a lot of movies recently, and like she just got sucked into it. And I was like, oh, I'll watch this with you, and she like really liked it a lot.
Mm.
And yeah, there's some really funny scenes in it, like laugh out loud, funny scenes in it, but some great action as well. But yeah, that's also on Prime. I just wanted to mention it. It's called Heads of State.
The chemistry of those two looks very funny. Both of those guys can do funny and can do the action. Maybe that's another reason why the action is credible, is that they're both decent at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're credible. But I just, Nikki was like, oh, what movie are you talking about? And I just described it to her, and she chuckled just hearing the description. You know what I mean? So as a comedy concept, he's Idris is the prime minister, John Cena is the president. It's like that. I mean, whatever you want to say about high concept comedies, but that I'm already halfway in just hearing that. Like, okay, this is going to be fun.
And like Cena is like an action star who became president,
and that's like not far fetched at all.
Exactly. So it's like if it's Trump, but if it's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger, if he becomes president,
exactly.
Like,
that's what I said to Nikki.
That's what happened.
It looks like he's doing Trump, but if he was Arnold Schwarzenegger,
it absolutely is.
Yeah. And it's like you can still like that guy, was my point. Like if it's not Trump but it's Arnold, you can still find him funny even if he's an adult.
Yep.
But if he was too Trumpy, you wouldn't. I don't know if that would seem funny to us now. Anyway, that looks fun. I'm glad that you've signed off on it, because I probably would make
definitely
time
check
for
it out,
sooner or
guys.
later. All right. Well, let's get to what we've been calling our big review. Ronald and I both have seen James Gunn's Superman. I've got my buddy Crypto behind me now. Let's see.
Not the currency, the actual.
No, not the cryptocurrency.
the actual.
You know what? I'll go ahead and say this. Crypto, the dog, is one of my favorite super dogs.
Get the hell out of yes. He's
but
amazing.
Crypto, the currency, is one of my least favorite currencies.
Same.
So yeah, Ronald, I'll just say this: you've been Mr. Different format, different viewing experience recently on the show. I sort of almost inadvertently, but just fluke of fate, ended up with a D-box seat. It was stupid. I've never done it before, but it was stupid. The chair just kind of tilts one way. I kind of hoped it would like blow air in my face, or like there'd be like a scent at some point or something. But it was really
was that at Cinemark Arundel Mills?
It was Cinemark Towson.
Towson. Oh, they have like those seats there too.
I mean, it galloped. There was in the opening scene that we've all seen where Crypto is like galloping across the the landscape. The chair kind of galloped a little. That was not that was okay. But after that, it was just a lot of like, if Superman falls over, your chair just kind of goes. And I sort of
40X is a lot more violent than that.
I guess I wanted more. I guess I will say this, that the D-box, I felt like a D-bag sitting in D-box.
Oh, man.
So I kind of turned it down. It had like 3 settings. I was like, I don't know. I don't want everyone to know. Even though everyone else, it seemed like there were a lot, it was a theater that was full of D-bags and D-boxes. It was but yeah, outside of that, the movie.
Yeah, Steve, I want you to ask some questions, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're the voice of the people.
Well,
You
I
haven't
mean, well,
you
before
haven't
I-
seen it, but we have.
Before I ask a question, though, I mean, what did you guys think of it, though? I mean, just give me some sort of general reaction. Like, where? I mean, you both are super high on this. Where are you with it?
I will say this. There is a fun, interesting, productive, nitpicky conversation to have about this movie because it doesn't nail everything it tries to do. But my short review is that I loved it. Like, if you were to say, John, how'd you feel? It's like, I felt really good about it. It even had stretches that I thought were just excellent. But the overall effect it had was like, it didn't bite off too much necessarily. None of the things that people were worried about, like, oh, too many characters, what's going on in this universe? Is this a different kind of Superman? None of that stuff is a problem. I think it's just that the movie has so much going for it that it leaves a few ingredients kind of unused on the shelf. And particularly, I will say this, like, the only person who I would even say is wasted, Wendell Pierce is really good as Perry White, the boss at the Daily Planet, but he doesn't have anything really to do in the movie, to the point where he's just kind of reduced to like hanging out, pumping his fist with everybody at the end. And it's like, Wendell Pierce should have had more to do in that role. However, this is a 2-hour, 9-minute movie, and it has 20 other characters in it. And the other thing I would say, if I was nitpicking, is James Gunn has kind of dialed down the sharpness of his humor in this and the sharpness of his storytelling instincts to make this kind of more family friendly in a way. This movie feels a little bit like, you know how his PG-13 Steve seemed like they're really stretching what a PG-13 movie can be.
Yeah.
This feels more like, oh, this is a PG movie with a little bit of blood and a little bit of innuendo, a little bit more stuff than you would get from a PG, but it feels like and not in a bad way, but it feels like some of the humor, some of the characters, they're designed so that literally like a 6-year-old could like get right on board with it. And for Superman, I think that's great. I mean, so I think it is a little more, do you know what I'm saying, Ronald?
Yeah,
that it's a little more family-ish. So it's really not a ding of it, but it is like, if you're looking for the like state-of-the-art James Gunn, this feels like it's like he knew what the assignment was with Superman, and he does kind of shift his aesthetic a little bit, and I found that kind of cool to see. But if you're just a James Gunn diehard and you want balls to the wall James Gunn, this movie is a slightly sweeter, more sincere, more gentle version of James Gunn. But I think what he does that's amazing is, and this will be what I'll throw to Ronald with, is like, like, I know Christopher Reeve is still the iconic Superman, but I thought David Cornsweet was perfect in this movie, and I think he's a perfect choice for Superman. And I'll say, I think Rachel Brosnahan is perfect as Lois Lane as well. So Ronald, those are my thoughts. Those are my first volley of thoughts.
So I think one of the things I was really worried about was tone. I think this is the first comic book movie that feels like it is trying to be a comic book movie and not trying to like suck off the teat of the like Nolan.
Suck off the teat.
The Nolan stuff. Remember how everybody post Nolan was like, this is going to be grounded in reality.
Right.
This is going to be so real.
Sure.
This is going to be so mean. This is going to be so brutal. This isn't that. This isn't that's not what you're going to get with this movie. It has a lot of heart. I think that's what really struck me is like, Guardians gives you heart, and so does this. You see there's this really cool arc of Superman understanding who he is as a person. And I'm not going to give anything away, but that's one of the things that is central to the story, because this is a lived-in world. You're getting plopped in after he is Superman already, kind of in the same way that we were with the first Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman. But this feels a little different because there's so many people in this world. There's this Justice Gang who is doing all these things. Like, Superman isn't quite claiming alliance with them. But, okay, so another cool thing that they do is, like, they make it very clear that Superman is the big guns, and they're kind of like, you ever wonder, like, man, who takes care of the petty thieves? This is kind of the group that takes care of the petty thieves.
Ronald, I thought one of my favorite things, and this is so comic booky, and Steve, again, this is not a plot spoiler. This is not a big moment. There's a moment where they're taking care of something, and Lois is even like, aren't you gonna get involved. And he's like, no, they got it.
Yeah.
But it's like in the comics, you just understand that not every hero shows up to everything that's going on, you know? And it's so funny. And I thought great that James Gunn used that idea of like Superman knows that like, oh, I'll show up. If I'm needed, I'll be there, but I don't have to fly out every time there's trouble. So, it is that thing of a world that already has superheroes in it, and you don't even get the sense that Superman is like the first one necessarily. So it is a different version. And Ronald, I want to just say I love what you said. Because my son was super excited about this, and he said, tell me a little something about the movie. And I said it's like picking up a Superman comic in the middle of a run where someone says, oh, this is the start of a good story, you should pick up this comic. Where you pick up a comic and it's already going on, but within a few pages you can tell what's happening, you can tell where, and then you know enough. Like they don't do a lot of sitting back and explaining like what kryptonite is or what the Daily Planet is or any of that stuff. They just kind of they trust that you know that through culture. They give you setup, but they don't like say, oh, Lex Luthor's the bad guy, you shouldn't like him. They just kind of let you see Lex Luthor and you go, oh yeah, get it.
A couple things. Rachel Brosnahan is incredible Lois Lane. Lex is really cool, and you could tell this is like stage one of Lex. Like I feel like there's going to be an arc with Lex and Superman. He's such a hateful, petty dude, and
such a hater.
Yeah, he's such a hater, man, and it doesn't stop. It's like it's interesting to see that dynamic. Man, there's some standouts in the hero category that shall remain nameless. They have these incredible scenes, and I think that every person in this movie has a moment that really feels definitive. Like these are going to be moments that people talk about forever. We have some heroes that we're going to see in Halloween from now on, like forever now. Like these are people.
Are you thinking of the same one I'm thinking of? Because there's one like Stealth who, if you were going to say who's the actual hero of this movie, there's one character who you might say is the sort of stealth hero of this movie. That character is to me going to be like, if this movie takes off, you'll see that character everywhere from here on out. It's now on the map. It's now on the map.
I think, is it a spoiler to say who that is?
I don't think so, but Ronald was kind of teasing.
Yes, it's Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what everything's been talking about him.
Yeah, no, he's
Mr.
great.
Terrific is so.
He's so cool, Ronald.
He's cool and kind of an asshole. And
he's smart. He's an asshole because he's the smartest guy in the whole movie too.
But like there's like this thing that, because the dynamic, Superman is such the center of attention that the other characters are incredible too, and there's like a tug in that way, like a push and pull, which is really cool. That works really well. This is the last thing I'll say. If this is the beginning of a universe, James Gunn has cracked the code. I think that this is the beginning of something new. Now that I see the movie, I can understand why he would be hesitant to put Pattinson's Batman in this world. I wouldn't mind it, but this is a world of gods and monsters. Like they're really like, Steve, you could be walking outside and there's a monster that's trying to kill you. Like that's this world now. That's the DC world that he's trying to introduce to us. Every hero has to be comfortable with that now. It can't be a world where like, I think there'll be different ones. I think there'll be different versions in this universe, but this gods and monsters thing is a real thing that he's trying to bring forward that we've never seen in a Superman movie, a live action one.
No, we haven't seen this much of just a Superman movie since the Christopher Reeve movies. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like he gets to be Superman. It's not a throwback. It's not too much of a reference to anything. He just gets to be Superman in a movie. And I don't know that we've seen one like this before in general, as far as like capturing that kind of sci-fi fantasy aspect of the superhero world, which again, I think maybe this might be what you're hinting at, Ronald, which is like the DC universe that James Gunn is setting up is like not like this movie has you going, oh, I see where this is going. This movie feels really complete and really doesn't even like little cameos and bonus scenes. It doesn't really try to do too much of a next time on. It doesn't
Yeah,
at
no.
all. But it does leave so much intact that now we have created this version of the DC universe, which, like I said, it feels like a fun comic book story where you're going to see different worlds and you're going to see, like Ronald said, crazy creatures, and it's just I don't know, it has a heightened fun quality to it that feels like, I mean, yeah, you do want to see what's the Batman going to be like in this world, and what's all this other stuff going to be like when they bounce off of these characters. And I now want to see another Superman adventure. You know, I mean, supposedly they have one that they're planning, but it definitely feels like now that they've set all this up, you would like to see them just really, you know, give us another yarn like this.
Yeah.
And again, there's it's not to say that it's absolutely perfect, but it does, the heart that Ronald was talking about really carries you through the moments that feel a little like, oh, okay, maybe that was a little rushed, or maybe they didn't quite earn that moment. But it doesn't hurt the overall feeling that this is a really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I hate to talk about it as a start to something, but because it's such a solid movie, it feels like a really solid start.
Yeah. Crypto is unbelievable in this
so
movie.
good.
He is the co-star of this movie. Like he's adorable, he's aggressive, he's out of control. He's like all of these things together, and you feel a lot of emotions. There's a scene where Superman just goes, golly, like just like out of the blue. That's kind of a sign of the tone of this movie. Like it's kind of seeing what this dog's capable of and just going, golly, like what the hell happened?
Well, his behavior is rooted in actual bad dog behavior, and his big hero moment is kind of rooted in bad dog behavior. So that feels really good. The other thing that I liked, you were kind of getting at this, not with Crypto, but there's a great Superman moment. And again, I won't say anything about what's happening in the story, but like he's such a good guy that when the bad guy's getting, there's a moment where the heroes are beating up on a bad guy or a problem, and Superman is trying so hard not to cause pain to the monster, and he's like, there's got to be a better way to do this. He just says that to himself, but it plays as like a funny moment, but also plays as like a statement about this character, that he's even though the other heroes are like, let's just destroy this thing, he's thinking like, is there any way we can save it? You know, is there any way we can get it into captivity, or is there any way we can get it out of harm's way, or whatever? And again, I think that's like all of that stuff adds up to this version of Superman and we know James Gunn is friendly with Zack Snyder, and I don't think he dislikes probably those movies at all, you know, but this is a different take. This does feel different. And it instantly became like, the second best Superman, without a doubt for me.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's the one. and I really I love Man of Steel, and it still feels like it doesn't step on that. It doesn't step on any version. It really is a take that is a little more. It's in a different direction, and I love that it is.
It's not a deconstruction. So often we've seen people trying to deconstruct this character, and this is like this is a more earnest attempt to say why we would like him, and not to be like, let's talk just about how everyone would be afraid of him and how scary it would be. This movie touches on some of that, like the sort of implications of him acting as like an independent person in the world, and maybe not having an authority over him. This movie approaches those subjects, but it doesn't then end with the idea of saying, Superman is this brooding guy who everybody hates.
yeah, man. Guy.
Nathan Fillion, super fun.
It's every character's fun, man. It's interesting to see what okay, last thing. The parents.
Okay.
The parents, man. This take on the parents is so grounded. You know, they aren't supermodels. They're just parents, just parents trying to raise a kid.
Their only problem is that they talk really slow. I wonder if people in Kansas are offended. It's like, well, no, we talk. Listen to me. I'm from Kansas and I talk super fast. But there was something really affecting about those scenes. I mean, I guess for reasons of my own recently, but there was some stuff in those scenes that really something really got me. A couple of those lines from the parents, because you do start to see like what really matters to Superman, and like how does he? I don't know that I've ever seen another movie explore what this movie does in terms of like how does he feel about his adoptive parents versus his biological parents. And what's happening there. So that was that's another a little wrinkle that's new that James Gunn has explored.
Yeah, I think the only outstanding question I have from what you guys have talked about would just be like, how well does it balance so much? Like, because everything I've read or we've seen is like there's so many characters, there's so many things happening. Whether it's whatever the conflicts are that happen throughout again, I haven't seen it, but whatever the big moments are in the movie, but the idea of having so many characters, maybe John, you kind of were alluding to it a little earlier, but like you have, really great actors and actresses in roles that I'm assuming in some ways don't get enough time, or did you feel that at all? Or how would you both kind of say it handles all that?
Well,
I don't know how he did it, but for all of the main characters, they all get some time beyond what I would have expected.
Okay.
It's a juggle, and I think that I'm pretty certain that there's going to be a quarter of the people that see this movie that's going to be like kind of overwhelmed with how many people are physically in the movie. Like, it is astronomical how many people are in this, how many people have speaking roles in this movie.
Right.
It's kind of like Guardians. You forget, we watch Guardians, 80 people talk in that movie. It's
right.
like the guard is talking, it's like all that stuff is happening, and it works in a way that is so interesting, man. Like, I don't know who could have pulled this off besides him. Like, I don't know if I've seen anybody juggle this many people quite as well. But I will say, it's overwhelming. I did feel like, oh, what the fuck did I just watch? It's a magic trick that I think he can only do. I feel like it feels like you come back and see the same magic trick next week, and it'll fall down on its ass if you were told to do the same thing exactly that way live. I'd say. But this movie captures it in a way that I feel like is a cool balance. I still don't know how he did it. I doubted it. I was like, I don't see how this is gonna work. And then I was done with it. I'm like, I'm oddly satisfied with this.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think I guess my version of saying roughly the same thing would be that kind of what I said before, which is that maybe you'll feel certain things are rushed, and you might not feel like every moment lands, like every moment of humor or every character beat quite lands. But as far as like the balance that you're asking about, Steve, it's pretty good. There's really only maybe a couple of characters that you would say, I don't know if I know enough about them. Okay. But you don't feel like they were the main characters, but you get enough of them. Like most of them you get enough of. I really, like I said, I think Perry White, the Wendell Pierce character, is the only character who I just feel like if there could have been a beat or a moment, just knowing how good he is, that character could have like, but maybe Hawk Girl too, or Hawk Woman, like another moment with her would have given you all that you need. So I'm not really talking about a situation where he had a character that he screwed up or bungled, but it's just like, oh, there's an actor there, there's a presence there, they're in the story, but there maybe just wasn't. I wouldn't even be surprised to find out there's deleted scenes that had those characters doing a little bit more in the finale or in the big battles or something. But that would be my only thing, would be the balance is fine. The balance that you're asking about is good. Okay. It's just a question of, as you often have with this kind of big cast, like, well, did everybody really get their moment in the sun? No. And some of these characters are sort of sketched in compared to others. But the movie, that's fine to have like characters that are in the background. It doesn't feel like a problem of the movie. I think more so you get the benefit of a world that's fully developed and that makes you instantly think of, like there's a team or a character that you might think, oh, it'll be really fun to see how they pop up in whatever the next planned phase of this is. And you do get a couple of cameos. I will say this movie doesn't have a lot of, hey, check this out, folks. Like, we're setting up a universe, but it's got two particular cameos that I thought were really fun and that were like, I'm definitely excited for how those characters are going to, like, how this world is going to spin forward with those characters. So, so for me, I think that balance was pretty good. It's, it's what Ronald said. You've seen James Gunn do this before. It doesn't mean every beat is perfect. It just means that you don't question the sort of like, oh, he gave a little bit of character to this random background character and it paid off in some way. There's a little bit of that going on.
Okay.
If anything, Lex's team has a lot more shine in it than I
No,
thought.
it's a bigger team than I thought. Like, those characters sort of grew like as the movie goes on. Yeah,
he has a committee. So it's like Lex and a committee of people, and they chose some really cool character actors to kind of be, his kind of stronger leads in the project to destroy Superman.
A pretty good plan he has that seems pretty solid. But also, you're right, Ronald, faces that you remember, so that when it cuts back and he's just like yelling orders to people, you start to see the little character arc that's building. So, I mean, again, we're talking about something James Gunn does well, which is a background character that's in a few shots. By the time it gets to the end of the movie, you've seen them go through a little something. So it doesn't always work perfectly, but the runway is there. He's putting down the tracks to make to make it work. So,
So we give this a Bruno Mars 24 karat gold.
I mean, I think we are supporting this. Like, if the question is, do we say like this movie works for what? Did this movie do what it needed to do? I think that for me is a resounding yes. Like, I'm all.
Is it a home run?
Yes.
I think it's very much a home run. If it's not a home run, it's like one of those where you go around the bases anyway. I don't know what you call that, where if the guys, the other guys are fumbling so hard that you make it around.
Inside the park homer?
Yeah, inside the park homer.
Pop fly right field. Yeah, it feels like a really I've never felt this enthusiastic about a new phase of something in a while. Like, this feels so fresh. What James Gunn is bringing and what he's going to allow people to do is just, it feels huge, man. It feels really different. It feels like we're going to be experiencing two very different vibes with Marvel and DC, and both of them I want to see.
Yeah,
very eager to see.
I mean, that's very cool that we get Fantastic Four in a couple weeks now, and then like not too far off, we get Peacemaker season 2, which after you see this movie's introduction to that world, you can't help but wonder what's it gonna look like when we get, like, what's that status quo going to be of those characters. So I can't wait to see more of James Gunn's DC.
Cool. I'm excited to see it. I'm going to try this weekend.
Cool.
I think that's an episode, right? We already kind of throw our other things in there. So
woo, we did it.
Schmovie.com is the website. You can go there to subscribe to the podcast on the podcast platform of your choice if you prefer the audio. If you want the visual, and trust me, you want the visual.
Yeah, look at this. You got
YouTube.com/moviesmovie podcast. And you know what? Even if you change your mind, there's still audio there too. You could be like, I came here, I don't agree with you, I don't want to look at you. You can just listen to the audio one there too. So just trust me. Give it a go. Hit subscribe. Hit all so you get notifications. We really would appreciate it. Be back next week. John's required viewing pick once again is Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about other movies and shows next week. As always, you've made our day. Thanks so much for listening.
Tell everybody, waiting for Superman, that they should try